There is a wall in every tackle shop in America built to do one thing: separate you from $500, one little plastic package at a time. And here is the joke under the whole operation: the fish have never seen that wall. The man who outfishes everybody on your lake walks right past it, carrying a grocery bag with about $12 in it. Today I am handing you 20 of those grocery bag tricks, the ones the catalog crowd calls poor man fishing, counting down from number 20 to a final trick that built an entire industry out of a kitchen drawer. Keep a running tally of what all this costs. I will keep it with you. Number 20. The wine cork bobber. A plastic float runs you $2 or $3 at the shop, and you will donate a few of them to the trees every season. A wine cork does the same job for nothing, and it did that job for 100 years before plastic showed up. Ask at any restaurant, and they will hand you a bucket of them. Cut a slot down the side. With your pocket knife, press the line into it and pin it with half a toothpick. Fish see the bottom of a float, not the paint job, so leave it plain. One thing to mind: a whole cork is a lot of float for a bluegill. Slice it in half for panfish, and you will see the shy bites of big bobber swallows. Tally so far: nothing. Number 19. Sinkers from the hardware aisle. Weight is weight. A steel nut, a washer, an old spark plug out of the mower. They all carry a bait to the bottom exactly as well as the little bag of shaped lead at the tackle counter. Thread your line through, or tie them on a short dropper below your hook, and you are rigged. And steel does something lead cannot do anymore: it stays legal everywhere. New Hampshire banned small lead sinkers and jigs, an ounce and under, in all their fresh water back in the year 2000, the first state to do it. Maine and Massachusetts followed. The reason is worth knowing. Loons scoop up small sinkers off the bottom like gravel, and their game agencies found lead poisoning killing more adult loons in New Hampshire than anything else. So Grandpa's junk drawer turns out to be ahead of the law. Match the weight to the water, use just enough to hold bottom, and keep the change. A handful of nuts cost less than a candy bar. 2 tricks down, 18 to come, so let me put a name on this voice: Walt. My father wrapped my hands around a cane pole before I could ride a bicycle, and 50 summers of canoe trips with my scouts taught me every cheap trick on the lakes of northern Michigan. Some of you found me through my camping videos, and it is the same man here, same rule: cheap only counts when it catches. Number 18. The $1 hook file. Here is the quietest reason people go home empty: dull hooks. Fellows will spend $40 on lures and never once touch the point that actually holds the fish. Buy an emery board, the little sandpaper stick from the cosmetics aisle, and test every hook, like this. Drag the point across your thumbnail. If it bites in, it is sharp. If it skates, it is costing you fish. To fix it, stroke from the bend toward the point, a few light passes on each side, and test again. Do not saw back and forth, and do not grind away half the point. You are touching it up, not sculpting it. The fish never admires your lure collection. It meets the point first, and the point is the only part of $500 of tackle that ever touches the fish. $1 total. Speaking of $1 fixes, give me 1 minute for the folks who keep asking where the rest of my teaching lives. Every camp skill I own, off the water, is written down in one book now: The Old Scout Way, Walt's Camping Manual. $29, and it is the same material I spent a lifetime drilling into my scouts, shelter to supper. The link is in the description below. Back to the list. Number 17. Picking your own night crawlers. The bait shop charges real money for a dozen worms. The sky delivers them free. The first warm night after a good rain, your lawn is covered in night crawlers, and 2 hours after dark you can gather a week of bait in 20 minutes. Here is the technique, because there is one. Walk soft, because they feel footsteps. Keep the flashlight dim, or put a red cloth over it, since hard white light sends them down their holes. When you spot one, pin it low where it meets the dirt and pull slow and steady. Yank it and it tears in half. Keep them in a cool bucket of damp shredded newspaper and dirt. Free bait, better bait, and a little hunt of its own. Boys in my troop begged for worm duty. Number 16. Yesterday's coffee grounds. Now that you have a bucket of crawlers, keep them alive, because dead bait is money in the trash. Worms in a cool bin will live for weeks, and they will eat your used coffee grounds. Sprinkle a small handful over the bedding every so often, and they stay fat and lively. The mistake is dumping in the whole can. Too much coffee sours the bedding, and sour bedding kills the bin. A little at a time, and crush in some dried eggshell now and then to settle it back down. Keep the bin someplace cold, a basement floor or the old fridge in the garage. The shop would love to sell you the same dozen worms every Saturday. The coffee can means they only sell it to you once. Number 15. The bread ball. Plain sandwich bread catches bluegill, carp, and catfish, and it has since your great-grandfather's day. Tear off the soft middle, wet your fingers, and knead it into a firm little ball around a small hook. It should pack like dough, not hang like a rag. 2 details make this work. First, keep the hook small, because a bread fish feeds with a small mouth and a soft bite. Second, knead it firmer than feels right, so it survives the cast. Toss a few pinches of loose bread near your float, and watch the water start to dimple. A loaf costs about what one fancy lure package costs, and the loaf catches fish all day. Tally check. We are still under $10 for this entire list. Number 14. The marshmallow, and I am not teasing you. That famous jar of rainbow trout dough at the shop is pushing $7 for less than 2 ounces now, and its real secret is not the glitter. It floats. It lifts your bait up off the mud, right into the cruising lane where stock trout travel. A mini marshmallow does the exact same job. Slide one up the hook, tip the point with a piece of worm, and the marshmallow floats the whole offer off the bottom. Pink or orange ones read like fish eggs. If you want the deluxe version, shake the bag with a spoon of garlic powder, because trout follow garlic like a rumor. And if you think old Walt has finally lost it, go look at the shelf, because the big bait companies sell fishing marshmallows of their own now. They noticed. A bag from the grocery store is $1 and change, and it is honest about being sugar. Number 13. The hot dog. The cheapest pack of hot dogs in the case is a serious channel catfish bait, and this is not just old men talking. Outdoor Life ran a whole piece on it. Hot dogs still being one of the best channel cat baits in the country. The old men buy the cheapest pack on the shelf, and it works just fine. Here is the recipe worth writing down. Cut the dogs into chunks about 2 inches long. Drop them in a zip bag with 1 packet of cherry drink powder and 2 big spoons of garlic powder. Add water to just cover and let it ride in the fridge overnight. The chunks come out red, reeking, and rubbery, which is catfish poetry. Hook a chunk once, leave the point clear, and fish it on the bottom. The whole bag of bait costs about $3 and holds its own against stink baits that cost triple. Derby fishermen guard this one like a family Bible. Number 12. Chicken liver in a stocking. Ask any old catfish man for the cheapest bait that flat out works, and he will say chicken liver before you finish the question. A tub from the grocery store costs a couple of dollars. The catch is that liver is slime on a hook, and it flies off on every second cast. The fix comes from the sock drawer. Cut a small square from an old nylon stocking. Wrap a piece of liver into a little pouch, twist it shut, and run your hook through the whole bundle. The scent pours straight through the mesh, and the bait stays put, cast after cast. Some men firm their livers up. First, an afternoon in the sun with a sprinkle of salt, the old way. Either road, you now have the smell catfish cannot walk past, at a price the bait company cannot match. Quick pause while your hands are still clean. Put a subscribe on this channel. It costs what half this list costs, which is nothing, and there is a trick like these here every single week. Number 11. A bar of soap. I will let that sit a second, because every new fisherman thinks it is a prank. It is not. Catfish men across the South have baited lines with plain soap for generations, quiet as a family recipe, and it works for one simple reason. Old-fashioned soap is made with animal fat, and as it slowly melts in the water, it lays down a fat and scent trail that pulls catfish in like a dinner bell. You want the plain old bars for this, the simple white one that floats, or that big pink laundry bar from the Mexican food aisle, which is soft and cuts like cheese. If the label says moisturizing, leave it in the shower, because perfume is not on the menu. Cut cubes about the size of your thumbnail, push the hook through, and soak it on the bottom in warm water. The old men swear the turtles leave it alone too, which is more than you can say for liver. And if soap feels like the strangest thing on this list, hold on, because the top of this list goes further, and it built an empire. Number 10. Salted minnows. During the hard years, nobody poured leftover minnows down the drain. They salted them the same way they salted pork, and a jar of salted minnows fished all season without a refrigerator in sight. Do it their way. Layer your dead minnows in a jar with a heavy snow of plain salt, the non-iodized kind. Shake it gentle and keep it somewhere cool. The salt pulls the water out and leaves a firm, tough bait that stays on a hook better than a fresh dead minnow ever did. Pike, walleye, crappie, catfish, none of them file a complaint, and a jar of cured bait keeps you clear of most of the live bait hauling rules states run these days. Grandpa wasted nothing, and it turns out his thrift reads like a modern regulation handbook. Number 9. The 2-liter bottle trap. Free minnows, courtesy of last week's soda. Cut the top third off a 2-liter bottle, flip it around, and push it nose first back into the body so the spout makes a funnel pointing inward. Punch small drain holes, drop in a fist of bread or cracker crumbs, tie on a cord, and sink it in shallow water near weeds or a dock. Minnows find their way in and cannot figure the way out. An hour later you are lifting out live bait that would have cost real money, and the trap cost you a soda. Use them on the same water you caught them from and let the extras swim. Now the serious sentence of the day. Minnow traps count as fishing gear, and the rules on size, marking, and use are different in every single state. Check your state's regulations before you sink one. That page costs nothing either, and it keeps this whole hobby cheap. Number 8. Turn over a rock. The most expensive question in fishing is what are they biting on, and fellows pay for electronics, guides, and gadget lures trying to answer it. The lake prints its own answer on the bottom of every wet rock. Lift one at the waterline and read it. Little dark wiggling things mean the fish are eating small and dark, so downsize and go plain. A crawfish scooting backward means dragging something brown and orange along the bottom is the play. Snails stuck everywhere means slow and low beats, fast and flashy. Match what you find, and you are fishing the actual menu instead of the marketing. Then set the rock back the way it was, because that is somebody's pantry. Total cost, 1 wet sleeve. Number 7. Kitchen foil. Flash is the most expensive word in the tackle aisle. Chrome finishes, holographic stickers, mirror blades, all of it exists because a feeding minnow throws off a little silver blink and predators key on it. A strip of aluminum foil throws the same blink for free. Fold a narrow strip tight around the shank of a bare hook above your bait, smooth it down with a fingernail, and you have a flasher rig for panfish and trout. Wrap a dull old spinner blade the same way, and it is back in business. Sunny day, clear water. That little blink calls fish in from farther than your bait smell ever reaches. Keep it small and tight, no flapping flags, or it will spin and twist your line. A roll of foil holds about 1,000 lures worth of shine. Number 6. A bag of O-rings from the plumbing aisle. Those soft plastic stickworms the base crowd lives on cost better than $1 a piece now, and the standard way of rigging tears one up every fish or two. That is a quiet tax of $1 a fish, and the fix costs almost nothing. Buy a bag of small rubber O-rings at the hardware store, a few dollars for enough to last years. Roll one onto the middle of the worm, then slip your hook under the ring instead of through the plastic. The fish pulls on the ring, not the worm, and one bait now lasts dozens of fish instead of 2. Same wiggle, same fall. Nothing about the presentation changes except the receipt. The bait companies would rather you never wandered into the plumbing aisle, and honestly, I understand them. It is bad for the worm business. Number 5. The flame fix. Do not throw torn soft plastics away either. A cheap lighter welds them back together. Hold the 2 torn faces near the flame for half a second each, just until the plastic goes shiny. Press them together straight and hold for a 10 count. That worm is back in the game.
Do this outside, over dirt, not over your tackle or your lap, because melted plastic drips hot. And keep it to half a second, since a worm that catches fire is not repaired, it is a candle. While we are on soft plastics, store each color in its own bag, because loose colors bleed into each other in a hot truck. Between the O-rings and the
lighter, $20 of soft plastics starts lasting entire seasons. Number 4. The lure lifeboat. Hard lures run $10 to $15 a piece now, and every fisherman donates a few each season to sunken trees. Everybody accepts that bleeding is normal. The shop sells a gadget for it, the lure retriever, and even that is worth it. But the do-it-yourself version costs about $1. Wired 2 Fish wrote that recipe up years ago. A heavy sinker, a big snap clip, and a length of strong cord. Clip it over your fishing line, let the weight slide all the way down to the snagged lure, and give the cord a few sharp shakes. The weight bangs the lure loose from the far side, and you lift your $10 bait back out of the tree. Work from straight above the snag when you can. It frees most snagged lures, and it pays for itself the first afternoon. From then on, it is printing money. Number 3. The soda can reel. You do not even need the rod. Down in the Caribbean, men have hand-fished with a round spool called a yo-yo for decades. No rod, no reel seat, no problem. Our version comes out of the recycling bin. Take an empty can, tie your line to the tab, and wind 30 or 40 yards around the can the long way, neat as thread on a spool. Tie on a hook and a small weight at the end. To cast, hold the can pointing where you want the bait, pinch the line with your thumb, swing the rig underhand, and let go. The line peels off the end of the can slick as anything, and you retrieve hand over hand. Give yourself 3 practice throws, and you will be reaching water well out from the bank. Keep one wound and ready in the truck for the day a rod breaks or a grandkid shows up wanting a turn. Mind that it counts as one of your lines under your state's line count. A complete fishing outfit for the price of drinking a soda. Number 2. The 97-cent paint shop. Walk past the tackle wall to the cosmetics counter because nail polish is lure paint at 1/10 the price. Under $1 a bottle, hundreds of colors, hardener built in, brush included. Ice fishermen have quietly done this for years. Chip jig head, 2 coats of chartreuse, and it is new. Faded spoon, paint the back red and the front stays chrome. There are even glow-in-the-dark bottles for the night bite. Clean the metal, brush on thin coats, let each one dry. The one rule, paint your lures days ahead, not at the ramp. Fresh polish carries a hard chemical smell, and you want it fully cured and aired out, 2 or 3 days, before it swims. Do that, and your custom paint jobs cost less than the sales tax on the catalog versions. Number 1. The tablespoon in your kitchen drawer. In 1824, a young fellow named Julio Buell was fishing a Vermont lake when a silver spoon slipped over the side of his boat. He watched it flutter down, flashing side to side, and watched a big lake trout rise up and swallow it whole. Most men would have cussed about the spoon. Buell went home and started cutting the handles off spoons. By 1848, he had set up shop in Whitehall, New York, selling fishing spoons. In 1852, the government granted him the first American patent ever issued for a fishing lure. It was a tablespoon with the handle cut off and a hook soldered on. That is the founding document of the entire American lure industry, and it is cutlery. Every spoon lure on that $500 wall today, every single one, is that same idea at $5 to $10 a stamping. And you can still just make the original. Thrift store spoon for a quarter, saw off the handle, file the edges smooth, drill a small hole in each end, split ring and hook on one, split ring and line on the other. It wobbles and flashes the same way it did 200 years ago because the fish have not updated once. Cast it out, let it flutter, reel it in slow with little twitches. Pike, bass, trout, they all still fall for the silverware. And the wall at the tackle shop still sells a spoon with the handle cut off. 200 years later, under the exact same name, the whole industry is telling on itself. Before we close the box, one warning, because this next one rides along with every list like this on the internet. You will hear that WD-40, the spray can in your garage, attracts fish, and that a squirt on your lure is an old-timer secret. It is not, and the company itself says so. There is no fish oil in it, never was, and they flat out tell people not to fish with it. What is in that can is petroleum. Spray it on baits all summer, and you are wiping an oil sheen onto the water your kids swim in, which can land you on the wrong side of pollution rules besides. Any trick that ends with garage chemicals in the lake is not a trick, it is littering with a rod in your hand. The real old-timer secret is the 20 above. Fat, salt, scent, flash, and patience. Nothing in a blue can, so let's total the receipt. The corks were free, the nuts were pennies, the emery board and the polish were $1 each. The bread, the marshmallows, the dogs, the livers, the soap, maybe $10 of groceries, the O-rings a few dollars more. Call it $20, and I round it up. The wall wanted $500. Now, is that wall truly a scam? Let me be straight with you, because the lures on it do catch fish, and I own a pile of them. The scam is the idea that you cannot go fishing without it. Close to 58 million Americans went fishing in the latest count, the most ever recorded, and the industry's own trade group adds it up to nearly $100 billion a year in spending. The fish never asked for any of that. A fish wants something that smells alive, moves right, and arrives where it lives. Everything else on the receipt is decoration for the fisherman. So here is your homework. Pick 3 tricks off this list, just 3, and run them this weekend before you buy one more package. Then drop a comment below with the cheapest thing that ever caught you a fish, because I collect those stories like lures, and the best ones end up in future videos. The wall will still be there Monday. Your $20 does not have to be.